Thank you, Diana. I told David that I'm not prepared to speak before people, but I know as I share what I have, I'll also be learning, isn't it? Yeah. I brought 2 items here. The phone is to help me keep time and stuff at 4:15, and my throat was misbehaving, so I had a slight cough. If I cough, please bear with me. I have water to help me control that. My name is Omondi, and I am currently in the education sector. I run an international school. La Fontana International School is a few minutes away from here. But we are here to see how do people start? What are the pitfalls, isn't it? The challenges, isn't it? And what happens along the way. I think that's what we are sharing. That may inspire somebody, that might make someone who wanted to give up not give up. So because the time is short, I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to share how I started my first business to where I am. In the course of time, I wanted to be good students, I'm a teacher, and pick from my story what may be useful to you. You may pick how to generate a business idea, how do people come up with a business idea. You may pick how do you overcome certain challenges, isn't it? And of course, many others. How do you get finance for the business? So make your own pick. What he will pick may not be what he will pick or she will pick from my story. So just be attentive. My first business was, I started my first business when I was 18 years old after I left secondary school. And it happens, I didn't come from a very privileged background. My dad was working for Moroni Sugar Company. And so after Form 4, those days you take 2 years before you get to university. So what would I do with the 2 years I was at home? And if I didn't get a job, the most likely thing was to go and take care of sheep or the cows at home, and I didn't want that. So I really did my best, and I was able to get a casual job at the sugar factory, and I was hired as a day guard. Day guard, I would guard vehicles, guard the managers at their gates with a rungu. I would go guard tractors that are broken down in the fields, and that was not very easy. Sometimes it could be very challenging, isn't it? Yeah, rain is coming, there's no shelter, all you have is a kabuti and a rungu, you know. I think there's a time I was taken to guard a primary school that was being supported by the company, and I'm alone. It's a very expensive place, and of course after the supervisors left, I looked for the best classroom I could hide, because I'd heard stories that there was a cheetah roaming around that compound. But I needed that money, that 102 shillings they used to pay per day. I needed it. So you can imagine how scary it was. But anyway, we survived that. That graduated from day guard into a night guard. So now they say promotion. it didn't even come with more pay. But now they said you have been working with us for some time. Now you're not green anymore. We can leave you out in the night alone. And of course, that was a very, very wow. I wouldn't want to take myself to how I was feeling then, but I had to do it because we were 10 in our family. And once you're through secondary, even buying the trousers and the shoes was your business. How you get the money, that was your business. But it ended in pocket money that was given at school, because you have siblings also being taken care of. So then they changed my role a bit. At least there was rotation. Huh? They changed my role a bit, and now it was firefighting. I think there were some fires. The biogas from the factory would cause fires. Huh? So we would, at least we were several of us now in the night, just in case fire breaks out, we are the guys to stop that fire. You've got the hose pipe, you've got water, buckets and everything. Mosquitoes are keeping you company. and it was not easy. But anyway, that was a motivation because I said, I can't do this anymore. 2 years. After a few months, I could not do that anymore. So I said, let me check what else I can do in terms of business. So one day I was buying bread from the shop where we used to buy bread. And occasionally I'll be told the bread in Asia. So you go to another one, bread in Asia. Then I said, where do these people get bread? Born in Asia, as if they don't know the number of people they're serving. So it happens, fortunately, my mother was also in business and it was her own premises. So I said, Mom, give me a room, I want to do business. And then I went to one of the bread big bakeries, United Millers, and they said no. Because they asked me how many crates, bread is sold in crates, how many crates of bread will you be able to sell in a day? So I gave them the number 2025. They said that is too small, we cannot deliver for you. So I went to one of the distributors who was licensed for that. And I told him, I really want to sell bread. How can I help you push this further? So I had to move further from the town. And he said, okay, I can give you a discount and then you can sell at a higher price. And I got a margin. And I was making about 800 shillings to 1,000 shillings a day. Those years, that was a lot of money. So my dad one day came and looked at what I was doing and said, do you need more capital? He was now becoming very friendly. Do you need more? Initially we would fight. He wanted me to go back to my casual jobs because he thought this will not work. But now he said, okay, this seems to be working. Do you need more capital? And he gave me more capital and my business stabilized. When I'm selling the bread, I can place an order without waiting for that. Now, it reached a time when I'm supposed to join university to study Bachelor of Education. And my business is thriving. What do I do? So I hired one of the young men in the town, not really a relative, but maybe family friend. He had just finished Form 4, the way I did. So he said, I can pick from where you show me how it's done and everything. I got him a bicycle. I used to ride also bicycle, pushing bread so that it doesn't go bad. When you look at the crates you have and the time before the next delivery, so I would now load the crates on the bicycle and try to distribute further. There's a secondary school there, talk to the tuck shop, and I would make sure that there's very little wastage in terms of bread going bad. So I trained him how to do everything, and we agreed on a salary. Okay, you earn, you can get class. So here my attention is divided. I would be in class, cats are coming, you're being told, someone says, oh, I think this guy is stealing from you, So you want to go back home and check what's going on, isn't it? And God gave me an idea that worked. I was able to hire another person, not to sell, but to bank, the person selling was supposed to bank the money, but now this one would keep the deposit slips. So I'm not there, but there's someone else, because he's being paid for every slip, he would harass this guy, have you banked the money? Have you banked? And he was bigger than the guy had employed. So have you banked the money? Have you banked the money? So that's how we make sure that my money is not getting lost, because now you'd have to account for all the sales for every day. This guy comes, I'll pay him 50 shillings for every slip. He doesn't have to work. His work was to keep the slips for me, and we count. I shoot, I pay him. And things went well until I was able to graduate. Okay, maybe what happened is, I mentioned my dad gave me capital. So when he realized I was making money, he stopped paying my fees. So I paid my fees through university.
Wow.
I was able to pay the employee and also pay my fees through university. Of course, at the end of it all, it collapsed because I handed it over to my brother, who didn't know how he struggled to come up, and within no time there was no business. Okay, that's said and done. I was now able to graduate and I took up a job as a teacher. And in my mind, I was disturbed because I was looking at my salary. I'm saying, what if that business was still on? I would be very rich. You know, I would still be making money there and earning my salary. But it was not easy to do anything like that. And after 3 years, I got an opportunity to work in Botswana as an expatriate teacher. And still the business, I'm trying to cut it short because of time. The business-minded person that I was able to, I think we were a group of Kenyans and we were just looking at what opportunities we can do. So in short, I was able to buy from my salaries and a small loan, I was able to buy a business that was running. One of the citizens there was selling a cab business. And those days there was no app. So in the office we had a map of Gaborone. Gaborone is not like Nairobi, it's properly organized. I don't know if anyone has been to Gaborone. It's a very organized place. You direct someone to a house, they'll go there, or an office. So it was very easy to direct for the ladies in the office to direct the drivers to where people wanted to be picked. They would call the office, we would send the cabs to where they should go. And of course, I started with the 2 vehicles I bought from loan. So in total, I had about, I put in my own car, so we had 3, and we were leasing 15 others. So you buy your vehicle, we run it for you, we give you 60% of revenues, I keep the 40. But in your 60%, you pay your driver, you repair your car, you buy tires and do everything. Me, my profit is safe. So for me, I would pay the office and pay the 2 or 3 ladies working in shifts and a supervisor. But it became very challenging because I was teaching 1,000 kilometers away. It's like, that is like Mombasa and Kisumu. Yeah. So supervision became a problem, and again, the business could not continue. A few accidents, drivers running away, you're left with liability. I said, no, I cannot continue. I happened to have met another Kenyan who was running a bakery. I joined him in the bakery business. He was struggling, but he made it look like it's a very profitable business. And he didn't have enough money. And I said, okay, fine. I have a job. The way I can join you, let me get you transport. So I got him the vehicle to be moving the bread around. Of course, it means that my vehicle now became our vehicle in the business. And something happened. Okay, it was doing well, the bakery was doing well. One of the major supermarkets opened near our place, and it was selling bread almost at our cost price. You know what that means? It means now people get fresh bread at the supermarket, and probably even cheaper, and they can still buy other things, isn't it? Again, that business had to close down. And you know what happened? The sad thing, we had debts, and now my car had to be sold so that we pay business debts, because I surrendered it to be company asset, isn't it? I hope you're picking your notes. Huh? So again, I was left heartbroken. Nothing seems to be working, and of course, I was able to come back home, and when I came, I was promised a job. I was taken to a place where they needed a teacher for business and IT, which I used to teach, and they promised me a job. No letter, no contract, no nothing. They just said, we'll call you. So I could not really rely on that. The little money I'd saved was running out. I go to Rongai. Many of you may be familiar with Rongai. And I started looking for a business opportunity. So I identified that there was no family restaurant at that time. Most of them would be with a bar, you know, or maybe not well done. And I said, with my money, I can do something very, very good. I identified the place. I think it was on top of National Bank at that time, the entire floor. I was to do a very, very good restaurant. I engaged an interior designer, you know, It was going to be a very good place, and I give deposit to the owner of the place. And I think some forces were also following, because after about a week, we've started work, and then the guy calls me and says, "Sit down. I know you may not like what I want to tell you, but nonetheless, we have to talk." So he says, I don't know whether it was NHIF or NSSF, had come, and they wanted the whole place, and they wanted to pay a whole year's rent, and they were paying more, probably double what I'd offered to pay. So I get a young girl from our church then, because she needed a job to sell. So during the weekends, I would go stock, and she would tell me that the whole day nobody bought anything. And yet when I was there, I was selling the whole day. So it continued like that. And I said, no, something must be wrong. I'm closing down. So again, I closed down the business, packed those things in my car, brought them to my house. And for I think 3 or 4 years, I had those things in my store, not knowing what to do with them. The decoders, the cables, the bulbs, the what, they were there. Because I was weighing now, should I continue paying rent, 20,000 shillings, and paying this girl her 6,000, It was not working. Plus the transport, getting things, the hassle, and no, I could not. So again, that business closed down. That's business number what? I don't know that closed down. So I work at the international school, and one day I saw my good friend fired from the job. And for me, I found it very unreasonable, but I said, okay, this is how it can happen. Now that I'm married, what if I find myself jobless in Nairobi? I have a family, So I said, I'm not going to wait. So again, I started looking for what to do. So now I had realized that some of the students who were teaching the international curriculum were not doing well, and they would need tuitions. Actually, I'm among those people who would go to their homes to offer extra tuition for that 2,000 shillings, 1,000 shillings. Sometimes in Spring Valley, it's raining, you're being rained on, But I said, what if I opened a place and then they come? So that's how I started the tuition center. And now they started, I put a signage. There were many battles around that, but I put a signage, and now they were coming to the tuition center. I think I have very few minutes left. And what happened is that the place, I'm going to cut off a very, very important part, but there's no time. Maybe another time I'll tell. So it happens that the place was now full. More kids are coming, full time, the homeschooling thing. People are coming, people want to receipt the exams, 1 or 2, they don't have to go to school and pay another hefty fees, isn't it? So we would have them. Others cannot afford the international schools. They would come, we talk, and as long as I know I'm paying teachers and I have money left, continue. So in short, that one did not close down, thank God. But it birthed the La Fontana International Schools. What happened is that I went looking for a bigger place to continue running the tuition center. But then people who knew me, even parents, said, why don't you start a school? So when I got a place that was big enough for a school, then of course I started a school. This is December 2019. And everybody can remember what happened in March 2020. What happened? COVID came. So the few students you have started with, the 30, 40 students you have started with, have to go home. You don't know whether they'll pay you money. No parent is willing to spend money because they don't know whether their jobs are safe, So again, you have taken somebody's land, you're leasing, you have rent to pay, you have askaris to pay, or they steal from you, And then, of course, by God's grace again, I quickly set up an online learning system, which many schools by then had not thought of. So I was among the first ones to come up with the online learning. And the word quickly went around to the students. We called our students and said, we'll charge you half the fee and you'll be studying from home. So they told their friends and the word spread, and many, many students online from some of the schools, some even the big schools, and that's how we were able to continue paying that rent, pay their salaries, and continue to live until post-COVID. Things were slow, but at least it began to pick again.